Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to go over a bot that I wrote a few years ago that plays Dragon's Lair. I've always loved this game, but I've never been really good at it, or really, for that matter, any game that requires clicking on certain areas of the screen very quickly. I just can't move the mouse over to it fast enough, or on the original one, it just seems to take too long for the button flashing on the screen to register in my mind which button to press. Quick time events in like even modern games just don't play nice with me. Um, so I decided to take the advice of many people across numerous fields and work smarter, not harder. So this bot, which you can see in the lower left-hand side of the screen there, um, plays Dragon's Lair, just the first one. It would not take much to modify it so that it would play Dragon's Lair 2 or Space Ace. I will make a follow-up video to this going over how the bot works and look through the source code and explain it. But for now, just uh, briefly, it only works with the first Dragon's Lair and only in 1920 1080. Again, this could be expanded to work for the other two games and other resolutions, but for right now, it was just a proof of concept. I will be uploading the source code to my GitHub repository soon, so you can download it there and tweak it for whatever resolution you're running, as well as make it work for the other two games if you want to. And without further ado, let's take a look at it. Before I continue, actually, there are three things I should go over since they're related to the gameplay. F3 starts it. So if I press F3, you can see the hex codes appear for the red, green, and blue values for different points on the buttons, and it will just keep monitoring those 16 times a second. I originally had that set to um, 8 times a second, and it would play through the game without losing all of the lives. However, it would occasionally miss because it would not detect the button once in a while. So uh, it seems 16 times a second works better. It's one of those trade-offs between processing power um, versus accuracy. F4 quits the program and F5 pauses it. So if I press F5, you notice that the numbers stop flashing. F5 again starts them. So let's continue and watch it play. Uh, let's give it a challenge. Go to hard mode. I'll move the mouse off the screen. And if you notice, the mouse moves to whichever button it needs to click. And it should hopefully play flawlessly. I actually haven't tested it since I've changed the timing to 16 times a second, which I just did today to make this video. Um, I didn't really care about a flawless victory, so 8 times a second for the polling was good enough for me. I may end up cutting this short or truncating the video and just skipping to the end, just so you don't have to watch like all 30 minutes or whatever. Also, avoid a copyright strike or something for uploading the entire video of the gameplay. So far, so good. At the arcade, when this first came out, I was like, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8. I don't remember the exact year it came out. I could never get past like the second or third area, and that was just because, the game felt sorry for me and only killed me the one time. It didn't make me do the same thing over and over, which was expensive because it was the first game that I'm aware of that took 50 cents rather than a quarter. So far, it's doing pretty good, though, much better than I ever did. The This version, which I bought off of GOG, Good Old Games, a few years ago, at least allows you to continue. So even if you're really horrible, you can still make it all the way to the end just by hitting continue every 3 lives. It also lets you increase the number of lives. I don't know if there's a maximum for that. I've never tried. These were actually really phenomenal graphics for the time, too. Um, I'm sure many of you who are already aware of the game knew this, but it was played off of a laser disc rather than internal memory. So they could do a lot more than most games of its time. Being an older game, though, there are no closed captions, so if you were deaf, you're just SOL, um, unfortunately. And I've got the game muted, so uh, I guess it's like we're all deaf in terms of the gameplay right now. And it still hasn't made any mistakes. I think before I changed the timing to 16 times a second, it had always made at least one mistake by this point. That that score is definitely much higher than I ever scored. Like I said, I only ever got to the second or third area. There's two modes for this. One mode has you repeat a lot of the areas, the other mode doesn't. This is that longer mode. So if you're wondering why he's going to the same rooms over and over, that's why. Huh. That reminds me of another old game, Marble Madness. If I ever found a version of that that would work on modern computer equipment, that would be an interesting one to write a bot. Excuse me, to write a bot for. Um, Everything was standard. There was no randomness to it, so it'd be pretty easy to just write something to go through the tracks. Time consuming, but easy. It'd be harder to write a bot for something like Pac-Man, where there's maybe not randomness. I'm not sure the actual internals, but it seems a lot more random. I know the four ghosts behave differently. A lot of older games, especially these adventure type games, would be pretty easy to bot. Everything works off a set pattern. I'm not sure how much longer it's got, but Hopefully it's going to be done soon. Also, I apologize if you heard any noise. There was a car alarm going off outside. This does not look like a safe carnival ride or whatever it is. Where's the seatbelt? This must have been a real big OSHA violation. This whole castle. There's no railings. That horse didn't have a seatbelt. This barrel doesn't have a seatbelt. Dirk really should complain to management about this. Also, is that Jello? Why is he swimming in Jello? There used to be a cartoon for this too. It was always it was one of those shows that made you think because they would present you with two options. What would Dirk do? Choice A or choice B. Then they'd go to an ad break, and then they'd come back, and both actions would lead to his death, and he ended up doing some third thing, which was kind of cheap. But on the other hand, it did definitely make you think outside the box, and taught people that there's not just dichotomies are often false. There are normally many other choices that someone could make. So it was a little educational in that regard. Taught a little bit of, I guess, critical thinking at an age appropriate, um, in an age appropriate manner. Um, the plots were never that deep, but really the plot of this game isn't very deep either. So I'm not sure you really can expect too much. I don't feel too bad about not being very good at this. Almost everyone I've talked to, who I know in real life who played it, had about the same experience. I know like one, maybe two people who were good at it, and everyone else was about as horrible as I was. So I think it was just a tough game. I don't know if you can hear it. That car alarm's going off again. I apologize if it's bleeding into this video. So far, he still hasn't died. That's good. Yep. And now he's found the dragon. And Daphne. She's not really as much of a threat as the dragon, though. Dirk's not very bright. Hopefully he knows which one is which. Although, Donkey and Dragon, I mean, it worked out for them, so maybe if he accidentally kills the wrong person in this room, it'll still end happily for him. There are there are numerous problems with this game from a societal standpoint, but It's still, again, 80s. What do you expect? Also, I don't think any of the characters in here are very bright. The dragon, Dirk, Daphne, whatever those mudmen were. Um, I'm surprised any of them end up surviving. And there you have it. Um, New high score because, well, I the game's just so good at it. Also, there were no high scores already on this game. I just reinstalled it for the video. But um, yeah, that's about all there is. You just start the game up, start the bot up, and I've just paused it again. You can see the numbers stopped, and just sit back or wander off or whatever and come back in time to enter your high score. Until next time. Uh, oh, yeah, again, I do plan on releasing a follow-up video very soon where I go over the guts of the bot. If you have suggestions for another game I could bot, let me know. Uh, Hopefully not a game that's like $70 or something, or one where it's online and I'll get my account banned for botting it. But I'm always interested in things I can um, play in non-traditional ways. Also check out my nonogram solver. It's up here on my YouTube channel as well. Um, and yeah, until next time, take care.